right, friends, welcome to Centers for Spiritual Living Parker. I am Reverend Phil Tapp. It is so awesome to be with you all today. Wow. You know, once a month, we're really going to put on a great show. So I want to really be able to recognize these folks up here who put in so much more effort than we have ever had to put in before. So I want to recognize DJ MacArthur, Gary Smith, Richard Clark, Alan Ward, Lisa Guilfoyle, and your music director, Alicia Archibald. Is my mic on?
Yeah.
Does it sound like it's on? Okay, good. So anyway, welcome to Centers for Spiritual Living Parker. We are an inclusive community, and we are so grateful that you are here today. Whatever your path is, however you got here to this very moment, we're glad you're here. We stand with you. And I don't see any unfamiliar faces out there today, although I do see somebody who has returned, and I want to recognize our good friend right here, Sue Burton. So everybody give Sue a big hand right now. And as is wont with us being so separated for a little while and not really getting met, we have a ton of announcements. So I'm going to go ahead and go through those very first so that we can get to what we need to get to today. So many thanks to the 7 adults and 8 youth that showed up on August 22nd to help clean the Grange. Thanks to them, today's rental is free. Our practitioner in service today is Colleen DeVries, and she and Kenny Johnson will both be available after the service for prayer treatments. They will be setting chairs up outside. So if you are in need of a spiritual mind treatment, please look them up. The music team will be staying for an hour or so after the service to record more music for our upcoming online services. So you're welcome to stay and enjoy the concert today. You should have all received a postcard when you arrived today. Did everybody get something like this right here? This one in here? If you didn't, please see Jerry after the service. This is a fundraiser. Kim Morse, she is an excellent photographer, and she's offered her services to provide fall outdoor portraits just in time for holiday photo cards. 100% of the proceeds from this will go to Centers for Spiritual Living Parker, so a big thank you to Kim. And folks, it was a busy week last week. We had a town hall meeting, and Dr. Nadine gave us a workshop entitled Be Here Now, which if you were unable to attend this, folks, it was absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. So don't miss her next workshop, which is going to be this coming Sunday from 2 p.m. to 4:30, which is entitled Manifest or Bust. And be sure to register for a class that's going to be taught by Dr. Nadine, Reverend Marilyn, and Dr. Vern, titled Learn the Art and Skill of Spiritual Mind Treatment. This will be for 3 weeks, beginning on Tuesday, September 29th from 6:30 to 8 p.m. So all of these registration links, as well as the town hall information and how you can get there, are in our weekly e-blast, folks. So in order to stay connected, really treat that e-blast as a lifeline for the events that are coming up here in CSL Parker. I mean, a tendency, a lot of times we get so much junk mail, maybe it's just another piece of junk mail. But I'm telling you, there's stuff in there that's really key for us right now. So don't miss this important information. Incidentally, that class, I want you to know, in talking with Dr. Vern yesterday, that class is actually going to be open to some of you youngsters as well. So if you are a teen or preteen and you're interested in learning the art and skill of spiritual mind treatment, please look up an adult and ask for some help, and we'll get you registered to participate. And finally, we will be having a larger receptacle to receive the change that you all have brought here today for our Loose Change Initiative. And the idea behind this is collecting change to be able to help fund Centers for Spiritual Living's Parker's kids programs right now. During this time, you know, we need to be able to have some extra funds to participate in some outings, because we can't necessarily all meet together all the time. So sometimes the fun outing is exactly what the doctor ordered in order to get kids to where we want them to be. So it's not just going to be used for that, it's going to be used for teen camp as well. So you will see a rather large receptacle to bring your change up to here when we do the offering. So I'm unveiling it as a surprise later, so you will get to see. So I think that is it for me for announcements right now. I do want to let you all know that we have had a promotion of sorts in our youth program. It has become very, very apparent that as an assistant minister that I need help, okay? So I am still your acting youth education director here, but I have, in talking with Dr. Nadine and talking with Laura Gordon, our board president, we have decided to promote a couple of other people from within our ranks to begin to take more of the full-time duties of the youth program and guiding the groups. And so we have promoted Heather Lonergan to Assistant Youth Education Director. And we have also promoted Katie MacArthur. She's a practitioner. We have promoted her to Youth Volunteer Coordinator. And now a few words from our new assistant, AYED, right? The Assistant Youth Education Director. Thank you, Heather.
Okay. All right. Good morning. It's so good to see everybody. I wanted to share a couple of things. As Phil said, Katie and I are both in our new roles. We are really excited just to be serving the community in the way that we already did, and now to be serving in an even deeper way. It's just really been wonderful for both of us. So when you came in this morning, hopefully you got a brochure. This is something that Dr. Nadine inspired among the three of us, Phil and Katie and I. So it just describes the youth ministry. It describes our roles. We've got a couple of quotes, testimonials from some of the kids in the program. So we're really excited to have this brochure just as a tool to just to let people know what we do, you know, and hopefully attract more kids to our program, especially as we start hopefully moving toward, you know, meeting in person as the year goes on. Katie could not be here today in person. She, as a lot of you know, is still doing social distancing at home. But she did send some words to share with you, so I wanted to read those. And Katie is, as well as being the youth coordinator, the volunteer coordinator, she is also the leader of our preteen group. And our preteen, or kind of our middle school age group, meets on the second and fourth Sunday of each month at 11. And right now we're meeting on Zoom. And so if you have a middle school age child or grandchild, niece, nephew, whoever, who might be interested, we would love to add you to our list. So just talk to me after service and I can get you Katie's email. The CSL Parker Preteen Youth Group provides the opportunity for our youth to discover personal self-empowerment through spiritual awakening. We do this with a 3-year revolving curriculum created specifically for religious science centers. The curriculum lays a solid foundation leading to our more advanced teen group. The current structure of the CSL Preteen Youth Group provides an invocation, a meditation, a discussion, and then ends with a benediction. The talk is derived from the curriculum, the CSL curriculum, and the topics vary from week to week. The CSL Preteen Youth Group will also meet occasionally for group outings. These outings are to assist our youth in furthering their spiritual awakening and personal growth. And again, so if you have questions or you want to get in touch with Katie and don't have her email, just let me know. And I know we've got a couple of kids from our preteen group here, so if you guys want to stand real quick and be recognized, that'd be awesome. Or one at least. Isaiah, I think, yeah. Isaiah. It's all for you, man. It's all for you. Okay, so that was Katie's words. Also, I wanted to share that Katie has a bachelor's in social work, and as Phil mentioned, she's also a practitioner. So she really brings that richness to the material that she shares with the teens, and her connection with the teens is very deep and rich as well. So I think it's something that the kids really get a lot out of. For my part, as Phil mentioned, I'm the assistant youth director, so one of the things I'm working on is the curriculum. We have been working with the CSL curriculum, and that's what we're continuing to do with the teen group. The teen group is basically our high school group, so more or less grades 9 through 12. I'm also involved, though, with a new group with CSL, and it's actually national and international. We had our first Zoom meeting last weekend, and they have been tasked with creating a new curriculum for 2021. So I'm part of that group. We're going to see what comes out of it and what we can bring to our center and to our preteens and our teens. I've already gotten some new ideas for connection. One of the things we shared was how to connect during this time that we're in. And you know, there was a lot of talk about Zoom, but there were some other things that people are doing that were really interesting, like the outings that we've been doing as well. So I'm just excited to be part of that, excited to be part of that community and bring that to our kids. Let's see. And then our teen group, I wanted to mention, I also lead the teen group, and we meet on the first and third Sundays of the month, again, via Zoom right now. And as of right now, we're meeting at noon. I may play around a little bit with changing that time, but I'll be in connection with our teens to talk about that. And again, right now we are working with the curriculum, although in the teen group I would say we've done a breadth of topics within the teen group. We spent the summer talking about how to be an anti-racist, which is a wonderful book if you haven't read it, very timely, really great information. The teens dove into that material in such a deep way. It was just so rewarding for Phil and myself to work with them. And one of the things I will say about working with the teens is that I have a lot of background in child development. I'm also a life coach, so I definitely bring that to the table when I work with the teens. Every single time I learn as much or more from them as I think they might learn from me. So our kids are intelligent. They're aware, they're paying attention to what's going on around them in the world, and they're seeking the same knowledge and skills and information that we are when we come to church. So we work with them on book discussions, but we also work a lot with them on spiritual mind treatment, giving them the tools that they need. We had 3 of our teens, one mine, one DJ's. So Andrew and Mia and also Aiden Clifton graduated. They are all at CU Boulder. And I know that for Mia at least, and I'm sure this is probably true for Andrew as well, they are dealing with the restrictions really well. There's a lot of restrictions in Boulder and on the campus at CU. They're managing all of it, and they're managing it with a level of maturity and higher level thinking, going to the top. You know, they've got the skills, they've got what they need, they know who they are. And so I think they've manage this better than I ever could. So what we're doing is, I think, really of benefit to the teens and also, like I said, to me as their leader. So I think I've talked enough. But I also wanted to just reiterate what Phil said about the fundraiser, our Loose Change initiative. We did a bowling alley with the teens a few weeks ago before they left. It was really an amazing time of connection. So the more of those that we can do, I think it's really great for our kids to be able to get together. Okay, so now we're going to move on to meditation. Our practitioner in service today is Colleen DeVries.
So pause now and turn within. Focus on your breathing. Breathe slowly and gently. Feel your feet on the floor. Relax. Know that the words that I'm speaking are words that are yours. Claim them as your own.
My deepest apologies. Masks make me cough. So I don't have anything. I just got a tickle. So just take a deep breath, because I sure just took a lot of them. And know that the Spirit within each of us is our strength, is our power, is our light. For we at birth are given all the greatness that God has. For God shined the powerful spiritual universal love into our souls. And our souls can be nourished through the love that we give and the love we receive. And for our souls to be open, we need to search and feel out peace. For peace is the stillness that we see in a brook as it babbles around the beautiful rocks and holds the life and the beauty of so much of God's creation. For we are as a stream. We can flow gently and embrace all the goodness that we encounter in our lives. And at the same time, we can rush and surge with joy and with gratitude. And in this moment, just breathe in. Breathe in this beautiful country air as we're surrounded by the age-old cottonwoods that have seen this frontier grow into this wonderful place that we now celebrate in. Breathe in the scent of the fall grasses that have gone from their wonderful spiritual waving in green to a subtle yellow gold, the golden light that is in each of us. Take each of these visions in and know that these are the brightness and the greatness and the peace of God that surrounds us and is in us. Feel the security of seated right where you are. For you can feel the warmth and the vibration of all of us surrounding you. For each of us are the beautiful souls and the energy of God. Take in one more deep breath and know that this day is a blessed day for you. It is a day that is meant for you, that you feel that will never come again. Take this moment and celebrate your life and celebrate all the goodness in your life. And just say to yourselves, thank you to the God in you and the God in me. And with this we say, and so it is.
surrender to the luminous love light of the one. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. I am opening. I am opening. I am opening. I am opening. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. I am opening. I am opening. I am opening. I am opening. We are opening. We are opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. We are opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. We are opening. We are opening. We are opening. We are opening. We are opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. We are opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. We are opening. We are opening. We are opening. We are opening.
The reading I've taken for today is a great deal of 365 days of richer living. And this is just a fantastic book. And I can't tell you how important it's been to me since November in reading something uplifting every day. And my favorite one happens to be this one. I enjoy life today. The infinite is a source of joy. There's no joy in the finite. Only in the finite is there joy. Ask to know the infinite, and you shall know joy. Omnipresence surrounds me. Omniscience inspires me. And omnipotence is mine to direct. All things bless me, and all people benefit me. I look out upon my universe, and I love it. For he who made it indwells in it. He that made me acts through me with ease. For I let God be in me, all that he desires for me. God's vision of me is a perfect expression of life in my vision, of myself. There's nothing to cause me to feel regret or sorrow, for I recognize but one mind, God's mind. I know beyond the shadow of a doubt that good is my only experience today. It's easy to be joyous as it is to be sad. It's easy to think of God as it is to think of trouble. I devote my consciousness to joyous ideas, and I experience happiness in my world. When others point out to me their troubles, I immediately correct my thought, and I proclaim order and right action. I never hesitate to declare the truth for me. He who hesitates to speak truth is lost in untruth. I speak positively and yet lovingly with others. I stand firmly for what I know is truth, and I am not afraid to say so. Never again will I indulge in false sympathy or belief of evil having power. God alone rules my life and his joyous activities of ideas. I am divinely enthusiastic about the possibilities of the present. All of God is for me. And things are turning my way. Life offers me all that I can take. Beauty seeks my eyes. And love seeks my heart. I give all glory and all honor to God. And there's nothing but gladness in my soul. My feet are planted on holy ground, here and now. And the whole universe invites me to enjoy the game of life. Right thinking is my greatest asset. Right living is my true vocation. I love to live the life which is God.
Blessed assurance, Spirit is mine. Oh, what a foretaste of glory divine. I'm an heir of salvation. I'm a purchase of God. I'm born of the Spirit. I'm washed in its love. Well, this is my story. This is my song. I keep raising my spirit all the day long. Well, this is my story. This is my song. I keep raising your spirit all the day long. Sweetest surrender, all is at rest. I in the Spirit, I'm happy and blessed. See, I am transcending. I'm rising above. I'm lost in its goodness, washed clean in the love. This is my story. This is my song. Keep raising my spirit all the day long. Ooh, this is my story. day long. 'Cause I know the glory, and I've seen the light. I know that Spirit does everything right. So if you're discouraged, if fear pressures you, just lift up your voice. That's all you need to do.
You guys sing with us?
This is my story. This is my song. I keep raising my spirit all the day long. This is my story. This is my song. Keep raising your spirit all the day long.
A little bit of gospel there, right? Wow. Amen. I was reflecting this morning. It has been 9 months since I have had the opportunity to give a talk standing up and in person. And you know where the first place I went? Oh my God, can I do this? Do I even know what I'm doing here? You know, it's like fear is kind of like this weird, corrosive thread that kind of just goes a little bit through the very fabric of our existence, right? Even in an area where I know that I should be completely confident, I still struggle sometimes. So I got a great story for you today about that. But I wanted to begin just a little bit by talking some about this building. And I know maybe that sounds pointless, but you know, there's something to me that is about the connective tissue of history, right? And that is exactly what we are about here meeting in this building. It's almost like when we were meeting in the chapel, same kind of thing, right? I felt a super huge connection to the past, like the people that I was in there with, it was almost as if they were there too, you know? There was something about that, and I feel that in this place as well. We are connected to the past by this. I don't know if, do any of you really know what the Grange is about? Anybody here know? Yeah. You know, I sat there and I thought I knew what it was about, but the truth is I didn't until I did a little research and found out that the Grange Association was set up in 1867 following the Civil War. And the real purpose of it, let's see if I've got this. This is not the grocery list. We're good here. The real purpose was to promote the economic and political well-being of community and agriculture. You may be also interested to know that the way that they were able to promote this, given all of the division that actually had happened just as a result of the Civil War being completed, was by a group known as the Masons. Oh, did you know that? No, neither did I. It was actually the Grange Association initially borrowed some of its rituals and symbols from Freemasonry. Notable Grangers, as they are called: Franklin Delano Roosevelt, Eleanor Roosevelt, Norman Rockwell, Harry S. Truman, As well as, I know my friend DJ will get this one, the bass player from Nirvana, Mr. Chris Novoselic. They number today, the largest amount of them is actually in Washington still, and I believe that there's about 13,000 of them. There are still 2,100 chapters of people that are trying to keep community and agriculture as being something that is important. And, you know, it's strange how they were actually a link, right? This group was and still is a link in between two areas that weren't quite jiving. They created wholeness. What do? Yeah, that's what we do. We create wholeness. How fitting that we are here today. My talk title today is Arise and Walk, and as you shall see, this comes from, it is a reference to Jesus and how he healed the paralytic and basically said, pick up your mat and walk, right? This is the story that appears in Matthew, Mark, and Luke, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it's in the three synoptic gospels. Many different accounts of this, and we'll get into that just a little bit, a little bit of talking about that. But I want to start out with talking a little bit about this idea that Dr. Nadine sends out at the beginning of the month for us ministers. She sends out a little bit of a synopsis of how, what it is that the talk titles that we present might talk about or might have something to do with. And this month she talked a little bit about this idea of I know-ness. Now, how perfect is this, considering this month the theme is facing the fear? And the context that she provided in this little snippet that she sent, which was actually, 2.5 paragraphs and very well written, was, do we hide behind I know? Do we hide behind this idea of proclaiming the truth as a means to be able to cover up the fact that maybe on some level we really don't know? It sure seems to me that at times it's not very all that comfortable to be in this area of uncertainty where we don't know. Where we may not have the stock solid answers that we really feel like we need to be able to have a sense of control and agency over our own lives and actions, which is really, quite honestly, that's part of what I believe is so attractive about the science of mind philosophy, isn't it? Is that we have the ability to make some choices, right? Does everybody here believe we have the ability to make a choice? Okay, that's right. Okay, that's right. And isn't that's what's powerful about this, is that we are not in a position where we are subjugated to some entity that may or may not provide something to us based upon whether or not we do something appropriate. It's done to us as we believe. It is done unto us as our consciousness is. And it provides a little bit of agency up until the point, and perhaps you may understand what I'm talking about. I have a cycle that I might seem to operate a little bit in. It is a three-pronged cycle that starts with control, where I have some control over what it is that I'm doing. Maybe it's my spiritual practice. Maybe it's this idea of I'm manifesting and manifesting well. I've got some control going on. Until all of a sudden, it seems to diminish and I'm having some trouble making my demonstration. I'm having some trouble. I'm not quite sure what's going on. And that is when I go into the next portion of the cycle, which is avoid. I tend to avoid things that I might find to be a little bit uncomfortable, and perhaps even hide under I know-ness to be able to try to manage the situation, which ends up becoming completely unmanageable, because what do we know? What one resists persists. So what I avoid ends up becoming what is created based upon the subconscious level of my belief. And I create unmanageability, which ends up becoming fear. And the harbinger for growth, right? Do we all believe that, right? Don't we all believe that? That fear is just basically, it's nothing but an opportunity for growth. Do we really believe that? Maybe not in the moment. Maybe not so much. Maybe, just maybe, we might suffer a little bit from what one might call analysis paralysis. Where we sit there, kind of hang out, right? This ain't too bad. I think I'm okay with this. A good friend of mine would say, Phil, you're in a rut and you're putting pictures on the wall. What does that mean? Well, it means that until I get to the point where I'm really willing to surrender, because that's the final step in that cycle. I'm really willing to surrender to that higher calling within me. Surrender to a higher consciousness. That is where I'm able to begin moving. We are able to begin moving out of that fear. But the fear was the harbinger. The fear was what we might call the prophet, because it actually aided us in our growth, did it not? It only happens that way when we face the fear. So the story that I want to tell today is rooted in the paneling that I went and did for CSL Ministry here back in January. I want to frame this out just a little bit. There were 12 of us. It was up at Home Office up in Golden. If you haven't visited Home Office, please try to schedule an appointment to go visit the archives. There's my plug. You guys know I love the archives. It was 12 of us. We were there for 3 days. The first 2 days were a bunch of extra schooling with ethics. They were giving us a rundown of what it meant to be a CSL minister, and we were reviewing a bunch of stuff. And during this time, what they would do is they gave us the opportunity to do what is known as stand and deliver. Okay? This was a wonderful exercise to which I was completely petrified. None of us knew when you were going to be called upon. But you would be called upon. You were asked to come up to a table that was up there to pick up any number of an Ernest Holmes book. There were probably 8 to 10 books up there. You were to pick one up, open up to a page at random, point to it, and give a 3 to 5 minute sermon. As I sat there, I recognized, holy cow, I am in fear. Just like I was talking about this morning, right? At the beginning of this talk. Just like I experienced there when Colleen had a cough and went, and I'm like, oh my God, what am I supposed to do? It's the same thing. I get catapulted into it without really even making the decision for it to happen. So the passage that I opened to that day, which was, the beauty of it is that we got to do it a little bit in a tag format, right? There would be one person that would be able to call on another. And I was called on by this lovely woman, the Reverend Sidney Lehman. And Reverend Sidney looked at me, and she had this knowingness about me. And she said, Phil, it's your turn. And I was sitting there in a moment of, guess what? Analysis paralysis. And what happened? I stood up. I arose. And I walked. And I picked up my favorite book as well as my pal Dr. Vern's favorite book, you know. Am I right? Am I correct about that? There we go. All right. And I opened up to chapter 5 at the top of the page, it's actually at the bottom of the page and goes over into the next area. Learn to exchange fears, doubts, and uncertainties for faith. Faith can make you whole. Faith can convert fear into certainty. Poverty into riches, disease into health. Faith can lift you from a valley of despair into a mountain of hope and certainty. There is a power which flows out through your words of faith. There is a law of faith which has the power to bring into your life everything you need. Jesus understood this. It was through this law that he healed the sick, raised the dead, gave sight to the blind, and fed the multitudes. He said that anyone who believes can do what he was doing. He said that you can do it. This power is in you. It is where you are. It is yours. But it must be used. And as I sat there and I thought about those miracles of Jesus, it occurred to me that I had been the recipient of one in that moment. The Reverend Sidney Lehman knew the truth about me, did she not? She did. As she was looking at me, she might as well have had that Christ consciousness halo all around her and said, "Arise and walk, Phil Tapp." Because that's exactly what happened. See, friends, it's interesting. Jesus is, what a wonderful character, right, in history? Because we're talking about history yet again, right? You know, he's kind of framed out in some contexts as being like some kind of first century David Copperfield who's able to perform magical acts, right? They're just magic. They completely defy everything. They almost might be like, as our friend Arthur C. Clarke would say, which he's a science fiction writer who wrote 2001: A Space Odyssey and many other things. He says, any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. What kind of technology do we suppose he had? Did he have these things from Star Trek? You know what I mean? Where he's out there, he's able to scan this. Oh my God, I know what I need to do with this guy. I know how I need to physically heal him. That doesn't hold any weight for me. That kind of puts him up on a pedestal that means that we are actually, that we are not the same as Jesus. Okay? And based upon Ernest Holmes' reading, that is definitely one thing that I would agree with. We are the same. So what does it mean? Does it mean that he performed a miracle? Hell yeah. That's exactly what I would say it is. But I think a lot of it depends upon what your definition of miracle might look like. Let's imagine that this paralytic was stuck in what? Fear. What if the man was paralyzed in a moment of fear, or had been there for a long period of time, stuck in that cycle of control, avoid, and surrender, but wasn't quite ready to surrender to the higher truth about him? But boy, it sure happened when someone else knew the truth about him, didn't it? Yeah, it sure did. So this is an instance where we move away from miracles being something as otherworldly, but becoming something that is natural, that is accessible to all of us, that happens in a moment of resurrection every single time we move from fear to the Christ consciousness that is within us. See, folks, it's not miracles. It's not magic. It's metaphysics. That's it. That's what it is. We are the sacred determiners of the energy of either fear or love that moves through us in any given thought or any given happenstance. It is ours to choose. So the question becomes, like in the words of David Byrne, well, how did I get here? Right? Everybody knows the story, once in a lifetime? Yeah. Well, how did I get here? I think a lot of times it's difficult for us to believe that something can change when we're in that area of analysis paralysis, right? What is it that we're supposed to do? How are we supposed to get over this? Well, now I'm going to invite you to do some homework. This you're going to like. You know that I'm a big movie buff. And I want to thank Jerry Himes for taking a suggestion that I offered here a couple of months ago and talking about a movie. Jerry said he went and watched the movie and he said, holy cow, that was great. That was absolutely great. This can be a form of a spiritual exercise. So the movie that I would like to introduce you all to is 1991. It is titled, What About Bob? Bill Murray and Richard Dreyfuss. In this movie, we have some wonderful, wonderful advice for how it is that we can get through fear. And how it is that we can get through, how it is that we can manage fear. And also what happens when we ignore and suppress it. So it is available on pay-per-view. And one of the things that they talk about in there is he talks about this idea of making baby steps. Baby steps. That's how we do this. We make baby steps. We have to kind of be in the position where what we do is, instead of thinking our way into right action, we have to act our way into right thinking. Which means, what do we have to do? Take baby steps, right? But what are we doing? We're walking. We're walking. That's it. And that's how we end up creating a different happenstance or a different circumstance and overcome any kind of fear that is tossed our way. One thought at a time, one prayer at a time, one affirmation at a time, one meditation at a time, one moment at a time. And those moments end up adding up to a different form of manifestation. So I'd like to take a moment here, being that that is the, I'm not going to say that it's the end of my talk. I don't know. Hell, maybe I got some more stuff I want to say. But the only other thing that what I'd like to do now is move into a little bit of a period of questions and answers here. Q&A. Does anybody out here have a question regarding what might be a good process to overcome fear? Irene?
Class.
Okay, excellent. That's good advice. Take a class. So maybe this could be a question is, how do you overcome fear? I'm going to ask the question of you. How do you overcome fear? What do you do, Irene?
I take a class and it pushes me into studying deeper things, and then it enlightens me. It helps me, and I get those ahas along the way.
Excellent. Anybody else? Jerry?
Well, I think one of the biggest things I've used to overcome fear is forgiveness. Forgiveness of everything. I think in the book, Four Agreements, he says, forgive your brother, forgive your sister, forgive your parents, forgive everything, and forgive God.
Very well stated. Thank you. Reverend Marilyn?
I start out by whining and complaining. But what works well is if I can call a practitioner and say, I need some help, and when I can talk about it and then know if they know the truth of what I'm needing, and that helps me to change my consciousness. So practitioners are critical for me.
Thank you. Kenny?
I use breath work because I often notice when I'm in fear, I'm breathing very shallow. And if I can breathe deeply, especially through my nose, it's very restoring and relaxing to me, and I can come back.
Veronica?
I get excited instead of being scared. It's when you have that adrenaline, you have to channel it into fear or into something else. So channel it into excitement instead.
Well stated. You won't catch me on a roller coaster. Dr. Vern?
Well, usually there's a lot of noise in my head. And imagining the best and the worst and all in between. And the thing that I got out of the Power of Imagination book was a simple statement. I am. And I am shuts off all the noise, and then I can fill in the blank. And usually when I've said I am, it takes me upstairs to the penthouse.
I like the penthouse. That's a good view from up there, right? Right? Yeah, exactly. Dave?
Surrounding yourself with people like we're sitting with right now. It's just everybody's consciousness.
Yeah, that's it. Catherine?
Surrendering to a higher power, knowing that I'm not responsible, my ego is not responsible. The
that there's something greater than at play. So trying to surrender to that in certain circumstances. So.
And I would, please, Carolyn, what do you got?
Well, I don't remember where it was said, who said it, but somebody said that if you have to speak or perform and you have that fear, to imagine your audience naked. And I don't know that that's what I want to do, but I want to recognize that my audience and myself are all one, the same one spirit. And if I have to say something to somebody that's hard to say, then if I know that spirit in me is speaking to spirit in you and it's all the same spirit, then where's the fear in that?
Well stated. And I think we have 6 folks up here on the stage who would probably say something about the power of music as being a wonderful way to shift our consciousness. So we have the answers, don't we? But here's the thing. I got to remain open and surrender because I never know who has my answer. It may come from Kenny. It may come from Reverend Marilyn. It may come from Dr. Vernon. It may come from the person that you least expect to provide it for you. So when we're in a state of surrender, it is a state of complete openness in which what we are looking for is the divine wherever we look. Thank you for your participation in that exercise. I like that. That felt good, man. I like the collective wisdom we got going on in this room. Please join me in prayer. And so right now I drop into that space, into that power, into that presence that is within me, that is all around me, that is everywhere, that is the divine creation of Source. It is omnipotent. It is omnipresent. It is all-powerful in every single way, shape, and form. And it works through me. It does. It works through me because I'm unified with this Source. I know this to be the case, and everyone else in this room is unified with this same Source. That same consciousness of Christ works in, through, and as each and every person here. In the moment that we turn toward it, it grows. We turn our attention and our choice toward the light in us, and it balloons, and it becomes bigger. And I declare that even in those times where it may not seem like it is all that powerful or all that strong, that we may see the light in someone else. And we may be the ones who need to pick up our mat and walk. But it is simple and it is easy because we have each other and we are each God individuated. Wisdom is at hand, peace is here. Love is the order of the day. I choose this miracle now and forever for each one of us, knowing that our Source is working in, through, and as us. We are blessed. I know this to be the truth. Please join me in saying, and so it is. Thank you. And now is our time of offering. And man, he's going to steal my thunder, so let me go ahead real quick here. And I told you that I promised a receptacle. So this has been decorated by our teens. Please stand up, all of our teens. These are our group. This is our teen group for this year initially. So we have Isaac, we have Veronica, we have Mary, and we have Aiden. And we do have a couple others, but those are the folks here today. So this money that you're putting forward, I'm going to invite them to come forward first. And so this is our bucket for the Loose Change Initiative. Who likes this? Yes. Everybody like the little piggy on there? It looks nice, right? So I'm going to put this right here. We're going to have our offering prayer real quick. Our offering affirmation. I'm going to ask you to repeat after me since we don't have a screen. Divine love.
Divine love.
Expressing as me.
Expressing as me.
Blesses and multiplies all that I am.
blesses and multiplies all that I am,
all that I have,
all that I have,
and all that I circulate.
and all that I circulate.
And so it is. Teens, please come forward with your change and make some noise when you set this stuff down. Excellent. And so I know that all of these gifts here are blessed. I know that as they go out into the world to do the work of CSL Parker, I know that the giver themselves is blessed too, and that this has great change in effect for each and every person that is touched by these gifts. So I know that we are all blessed as a result of this giving, in the fact that giving and receiving are one in truth. For this I am grateful, and I release, knowing that it is so. And so it is. I'm going to throw a little kink into this right now, and I'm going to invite my good friend Colleen DeVries and come up and do the benediction for us today. I have missed you, my friend, and I am so glad that you are back here with us today. So can you please come up here and do the benediction for us?
Am I on? Yep. All right. What great joy we have shared today. What a great life each of us has. Here we are sharing our energy and our love. And I take the great wisdom that Phil shared in regard to that we can abandon all of our fears through small steps. Take those baby steps. Or when you're ready, take the giant leap. For knowing is the pool of love of God. Your truth is in your heart each day. And I thank you all for sharing your joys today. And know that each of us goes forward to light the world with a love, with peace, with joy, and with gratitude, for which at this time we all surrender to the truth in ourselves and say together, and so it is.
Hey, I want to take a quick second and say it's so great to see you all, and I want to welcome Alan back to the band.
Yes.
Thank you. This little light light of mine, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Yeah, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine everywhere I go. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. And in keeping with the topic, no more living in fear. No more living in fear. Hey, I'm gonna let it shine. Yeah, no more living in fear. I'm gonna let it shine. No more living in fear. I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. This little light of mine. This little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Oh, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. God bless. Blessings on your week. We love you. Yeah.
I invite you now into a personal investment called sacred giving. When we know that there is an infinite flow of prosperity and abundance moving in, through, and as us at all times, no matter what our circumstances may show us, we can begin to expand our consciousness of acceptance and then give from a grateful heart. You know, when our souls are fed by faith-filled giving, not obligatory giving, our gifts bless the giver and the receiver many times over. So for your convenience, we have provided you with a number of ways in which you can contribute. First off, you can click the box at the top of your screen. You can also go on our website or donate via Zelle. Or if you're more comfortable, you can write a check and mail it to our office address. We do receive and appreciate your tithes, and we thank you for supporting us to remain a vital and vibrant and thriving center in which you may continue to receive your spiritual nourishment. So I invite you now to affirm your prosperity through the power of your own word by saying these words with me. I attract all good things into being. The power of my faith enhances my experience of health, relationship, finance, fulfillment, passion, purpose, and joy. The creative source in my life is in a constant state of perfection, freely giving itself as my bounty. And so it is. And now won't you enjoy this offertory song?
To be humble, to be kind, it is a giving of the peace in your mind. To a stranger, to a friend, to give in such a way that has no end. We are love, we are one, we are how we treat each other when the day is done. We are peace, we are war, we are how we treat each other and nothing more. And to be bold, to be brave, it is a thinking that the heart can still be saved, and the darkness can come quick. The danger's in the anger and in the hanging on to it. We are love, we are one, we are how we treat each other when the day is done. We are peace, we are war, we are how we treat each other, nothing more. And tell me what it is that you see, a world that's full of endless possibility, and heroes don't look like they used to, they look like you do. We are love, we are one, we are how we treat each other when the day is done. We are peace, we are war, we are how we treat each other, nothing more. We are how we treat each other, nothing more.